Wonderful to have you on, Peter. When you're ready, you can share your screen and present to the panel and the audience.
Thank you for the opportunity, Jerry and the HITLAB team. Really appreciate these last few days, and the panel, thank you for the time and attention. So this will be a pretty nice segue from Kyle's excellent presentation, because we are in the business of chronic care management, specifically in cardiac rehab. I'm going to talk a bit about the problem and then go into exactly what our solution does by way of background. Again, my name is Peter Niemi. Prior to this, I was in the pharmaceutical marketing field, so I've spent the last more years than I care to mention helping commercialize products for pharma companies, large and small, drugs, medical devices, and the like. So we talk about our venture and the problem we solve. I'll set it up in two quick parts. So obviously, cardiac events. Readmission is the big issue with cardiac events. That's what we're seeking to address at Recovery Plus. You see on the right side, readmission rate after 30 days after a cardiac event is anywhere between 25 and 30%, and that's pretty much regardless of location, country, or anything like that. Our latest survey we did, the readmission rate was about just right around 2%, and that's pretty standard. Cardiac rehab works. It keeps people out of the hospital. So why don't people use it? Participation rate is a huge problem. Over 80% of people who are deemed eligible for rehab by Medicare don't go. This is due to a lot of reasons. Facility location and lack of seats, if you will, is the number one reason, right? There are not enough cardiac centers in the country to handle all the people who should be on rehab, and there never will be. There's no way this industry is going to grow 5 times size. So we need a different solution to scale, and that's where we came in. This low participation rate, I'm not going to read all of these words on this slide in the interest of time today, but this is a study that recently came out from the Million Hearts organization, citing the fact that the benefits are profound and well documented. The barriers include huge wait times, long travel times, and in fact, these barriers become even greater when you add in the inequalities of income and race. And the solutions they propose are home-based programs, particularly in rural areas and things like that, which is really what we have created over the course of the last few years, addressing the need to scale cardiac rehab. So here's our platform. I'll intro it to you and then talk a little bit of how it works, and then about the traction we have to date, which is solid and growing. So we've built a patient-facing app, way of interfacing with our patients through this app and other communications methods, so that they can do an entirely virtual home-based cardiac rehab program under the supervision of an exercise physiologist, who is in turn monitored by a registered nurse. It's a seamless experience. You're wearing a heart rate monitor while you exercise. This is obviously critical in the cardiac sector. It's a customized plan. I'll talk a little bit more about that. This is not a cookie cutter approach, staffed by our own professionals. Important to note, when we get into other people who are working in this field, we are the clinic, the EPs, and the RNs all work for us as employees. We're not a SaaS play. On the other side, we have a provider dashboard. This is where we monitor all of our patients, keep track of their vitals. If there is an issue that needs to be reported to their primary physician, cardiologist, or other physician, we can push them an alert. And this allows us to monitor compliance in real time. This is also integrated with our EHR and our billing system, which I'll get to momentarily. So quick overview of our process. So this is the cardiac rehab onboarding process. If you go to a traditional cardiac rehab clinic, typical wait time is 2 to 3 months to get a seat and to get onboarded. We're at about 72 hours right now, and we're getting better every day. We should be at 48 before the year is out. You get evaluated, you're screened for pain, You're given balance tests, strength tests, and a step test, all typical tests, only ours are done virtually. A report is generated. We do have an AI engine that scans all of the vitals and results and makes a recommendation. This is reviewed by our medical director, and then therapy begins. Of course, the program goes on. As you get stronger, the program becomes more challenging. And if something hurts or something like that, of course, we scale it back. Again, lots of varying needs in our field, from fairly healthy patients who just have high risk and want to avoid a cardiac event at all, to fairly high risk patients. All of the programs are tailored based on based on your medical records and the input of the onboarding. So this is a good time. I always like to pause and kind of humanize our approach. It's very easy to get lost in the data, and this is a very personal approach. And I invariably find what our patients have to say something we learn a lot from. So this is Jill. She's up here in New York, where I'm based. She came out of a group of senior centers in the Bronx, where we are the cardiac rehab provider. Jill's challenges: doctors are too busy to discuss basic needs such as aches and pains. That's right. Cardiologists are very busy, and they're not going to spend a lot of time if your knees hurt or something like that. I didn't think I could exercise at all. That's such a pithy little line there. Our patients are not people who are excited to get to the gym and chuck 10 pounds or something like that. They're scared. Many of them have had heart events. I'll talk about preventative care in a minute. And so they're worried that they're going to have another one. And so their default activity is nothing. Solutions, my EP, and every single patient, when we do a patient survey, the first thing they mention is their treater, their exercise physiologist. They love them. We have an incredible staff. My EP has me moving at a good pace. He's been seated in my chair. Anything is better than nothing. Checks my blood pressure and heart rate regularly. Assures me that everything's okay. Stops if it's not. And knowledgeable about things that affect my physical well-being. An EP will, in fact, listen to you if your back hurts or your head hurts or whatever. And of course, the results, they start to feel better, and they accommodate any issues. So that's Jill. I think she really lays out this program as well or better than any walkthrough could. Make sure check the time here. I think I'm doing pretty well here. So I'm going to talk about the market size for a minute, talk about the cardiac rehab market and what we're going after. Just wanted to pause here and say this approach applies to numerous other verticals. Our focus is on cardiac rehab. One of our partners is a cardiac rehab guru, so it's a natural place to focus. Pulmonary rehab, hypertension. There are a number of different, we even have some long COVID sufferers who are on treatment now. We send them a pulse oximeter that connects directly to our EHR and get them on therapy. So lots of room for expansion. Oh, like I took the market size slide out of there. Okay, I'll ad-lib that one. So real quick, the business model of Recovery Plus, this is critical. We are insurance-based. Our patients do not pay for care. We're licensed to accept Medicare and all of the major insurances. Now, importantly, we can bill for rehab. We can bill CPT codes for prehab, as we call it, and preventative care. So we can start treatment as long as someone has a risk factor and a comorbid condition, which includes weight and diabetes and hypertension, which includes just about everyone, right? We can start them on treatment right away. We do offer telehealth services through our medical directors, not a core part of our business, but it is available, and remote patient monitoring through connected devices. So very importantly, these are the CPT codes that we tend to bill to insurance. We don't use traditional cardiac rehab codes. So we are able to partner with in-person facilities and deliver a hybrid model. Talk about the team real quickly. You've met me. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for your time today. Tim Bilbrey is a cardiac rehab specialist, was in a traditional cardiac rehab role for a little over a decade, and then came up with this idea that in order to scale cardiac rehab to the people who need it the most, it would have to be separated from the facility. It would have to become home-based. Dr. Lei Zhen is our third partner. He was a surgeon in China. I met him about 15 years ago at business school. And so the three of us, that's really the story of the company. I'm marketing and operations and commercializing this in the US. Tim's the cardiac rehab guru, and Dr. Lei Zhen is our doctor who's on a mission to bring treatment to the entire world. He created the foundation for this program when his parents fell ill, and he's expanded it over the years, and it is the basis for what you see today. Real quickly, talk about the market size. Our goal, I saw Kyle's impressive presentation earlier, and their goal is to get to an extraordinary number of patients on therapy. Ours is to get to 50,000 patients on therapy over the course of the next 2 years. This is addressing a market that in size, the current cardiac rehab market is about $1.8 billion. That's about 20% of the market. So the gross market is about $8 billion. That's just in the cardiac rehab. How am I doing, Gary? I know we started a little late. Want me to wrap it up?
We have about a minute or two left for questions if you want the panel to
Okay. I'll do a 15-second wrap up because I definitely want to leave time for any questions.
Of course. Next
steps in Recovery Plus, our growth plans, integrating with EHRs. We're launching clinical research and plan to get FDA approval as a 513G medical device at the end of next year. We're building out the app, gamifying it, making it more sticky, if you will, and more usable. And we're introducing group sessions to make this more of a collaborative event now that we're opening our first clinic in New York next month. And now that we are to the point where people are going to things in person again, much like the HITLAB conference on Tuesday, group sessions are a natural extension of what we do when people are able to attend. That's a summary of the competition. If there are questions on it, I'll answer them. But given the time, I'll say thank you for listening.